Alright, fast running back for another one on the channel. This is a video that I said that I was planning on doing. Unfortunately, with things that have happened the way that have gone, I had it in my mind that I was going to do this video. I was just waiting for confirmation, and unfortunately, that confirmation came last week. I was meant to do this video last week, but it's a nightmare doing these kind of videos when my parents are in the house, because obviously being on disability benefits doesn't pay that well, so I have to live with my parents. So there are things that I find I wouldn't feel comfortable talking about it when they can overhear it, because they do listen in my conversations most of the time. So yeah, so like I say, amazing, over 5,000 subscribers now. Let's get it up to 20,000 before Christmas, shall we? We'll really get this message out there. Big thank you to those subscribing. Please keep subscribing, like the channel, and drop your comments. Like that, I'll try and get back to you. This one's going to be about three people, three different walks of life, all the same ending, unfortunately. Ricky Hatton died about 6 weeks ago. He was a boxer who's loved by millions of people. Had so many fans. An amazing boxer as well. He did so much for mental health as well. He said obviously he was suffering because he has transpired in the last week that he was found hanged. So he committed suicide, basically, and that's the first kind of one I want to get into a little bit about. I believe it was his daughter said at the funeral, "Why didn't you just reach out?" I know a lot of people will kind of relate to this. It's not easy. It's easier to lie your way through it and say everything's all right when it isn't. I think I've said in previous videos, I've gone ages saying that I'm all right when I'm not. Basically, it just becomes your want for a better terms, your poker face. I'd say. Because you will just say that you're all right, and you're almost trying to convince yourself that you're all right when you know that you're not. What I believe I can't hide it as much as I used to, because people have started to notice the telltale signs. There's a very small, a lot of my friends are at the rugby club, pretty much most of them, so they can sort of tell now when something isn't quite alright, and that's sort of what you need, I guess. People basically pissing you off until they get the answer that they know that everything's not alright out of you. Eventually, if someone asks you once, you're just like, yeah, fine. Twice, yeah, fine. Yeah. 8 or 9 times, you just want just to shut them up. You will say, no, I'm not alright, but, and then you'll talk about it. It's only really happened recently at the rugby club, so that people do ask me about 8 or 9 times, and so it's not annoying. It's caring. So you can't be annoyed being cared at. Um, like I say, that's just my opinion. Um, what I've done. So yeah. Um, so I'm going to talk a little bit about Ricky Hatton. This is sort of, I'm trying to make a point of this illness does not discriminate against anyone. So there's going to be 3 different people, 3 walks of life, exactly the same happened. Ricky Hatton, brilliant boxer, like I said, had legions of fans. I think once about 40,000 people went over to Las Vegas to watch a fight against Mayweather. Uh, that's amazing. He was styled himself as one of the lads, and which he was. You could go down the pub and see him, I think. Very comfortable, money wise, well off, very well off, and you know, children. He wasn't married, I don't think, but he had a girlfriend. But he had kids with his ex. It's kind of, I wouldn't say what you dream about, but it's kind of, a good. It sounds good on paper, if you know what I mean. It sounds like, well, how can they have mental illness? Um, you got money, nice house. You don't have to worry about the money side. You don't have to money mortgage, paying bills. You don't have to worry about all that kind of stuff. You got children who love you. You love them. I think he has a grandchild. Yeah. His son Connor was in boxing. He's had a few fights. Yeah, you would think top of the world, but like I say, he was a big advocate for raising awareness with mental health, and we can only guess of what has happened to make him end his own life. He just must have been, in my opinion, putting on a mask and eating him up, basically. I'm not going to turn around and say it's not enough people that asked him if he was all right, because that's just ridiculous, and it sounded ridiculous as we were saying it. But so what's going to happen now is there's going to be another coroner's report in an inquest into his death early next year, and they're going to probably turn around and say nothing could have happened, nothing could have prevented it, instead of making any recommendations whatsoever and be like, well, hang on, we need more mental health professionals. Well, that probably won't come as a recommendation. Another one I'm going to touch on about is nothing to do with the video, it's just because it's about the same time. Ex-Liverpool and Burnley women's manager, done exactly the same as Ricky Hatton, pretty much a couple of weeks apart, and is going to be an inquest into that. And It's going to be about the same time next year, and probably I expect the wording will be exactly the same. Nothing could have prevented it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that's that one. Like I say, this is uh, just me shouting out loud how this does not discriminate against anyone. My old boss committed suicide a few years ago, I believe. I wasn't in contact with him, but I only found out myself last year. He was a businessman. He owned businesses uh, where he was. I'm not going to name names, but you could imagine he was comfortable, not completely well off, but you know, he could have a good standard of living, shall we say. And he suffered with mental illness. I think it said in the coroner's report about COVID. Um, I believe his marriage was on the rocks as well, but whatever happened there, he was, when I knew him, he was the most positive person I could have ever known. The last person I would have thought would do that. Yeah, so that was tough when I found out. And the last person, one of my friends, he was deeply depressed and very, very ill. He took his own life a few years back. Remember speaking to his brother, who's a very, very good friend of mine, once, and he was obviously living with family at the time, and his brother had given up his bed and was sleeping on the floor for him. And he says, "Oh, I'll never get thanked." And I said to him, I says, "He does love you, believe me, but so I never thank people when I'm really ill." But I said to him, "He does love you, he does appreciate it, everything that you're doing for him." And unfortunately, that one ended up in suicide as well. He had kids, definitely not as well off as the other two, but wasn't skint. Um, yeah, so that's kind of my point in this thing about the no discrimination against it. It can happen in any walk of life, whoever you are. Yeah. And there needs to be more done about it. I read one, they're doing an inquest into some girl that died in Manchester of suicide. She was actually in a mental hospital. They're meant to be checked on every 15 minutes. Um, one of the nurses there, nurse, found her in the toilet. She tried to commit suicide. She was in hospital, died 5 days later. The records had been falsified by a person, and that's in a building where you're meant to be safe. That's meant to be the safest place, and it still happened in that place, and that's when I get back to kind of we don't have enough professionals. That's given. We all know that. But the professionals that we have sometimes fail. I mean, everyone makes mistakes, but you would think being an absolute professional and being told to check on someone every 15 minutes, you would, well, to me, that's normal as doing your job. But can't say about the other circumstances involved because I don't think there was any. He said he'd failed, or she. Um, so there wasn't like he was rushing around or see, can't remember. Um, rushing around saying, "There's one of me and I've got 30 patients." That hasn't even been said. So when we train these people, I think we need to have better training. Well, that's an obvious one, but also people have to be able to do their jobs properly. I mean, you could check up you if you got newborn baby or something. Check on them every 15 minutes, wouldn't you? Well, every minute, but you know, yeah. I've got a dog. Um, I'll check on him every 15 minutes. It's just natural. So saying, well, I I didn't do that, and then falsifying the records after is yeah, I don't know how to say how shocking that actually is. But unfortunately, and I don't know what it's like in any other country. If you're from another country, please drop me a line and say that yours is better, please, because this is only England that I'm talking about. This is absolutely ridiculous that people don't do their jobs properly. Um, Not enough money put into it. I reckon I wouldn't say everything's preventable because it's not. We all know that. Um, you can't say who or or would it have helped who or whatever. But if there's more money invested in the mental health professionals, then there's less of a chance of it happening because there'll be there'll be less waiting time for one, which is to me really important because I I've waited years and years. I kept on getting lost in the system. Um, I can't even remember. I think it must have been about 4 years that I was in the system and not being seen by anyone. Um, Once you get into the system, it's a different thing. But um, I think they're I think they were very proud to announce not so long ago. I believe they announced we want the waiting times to be no longer than 6 months. I mean, 6 months, fucking hell. It should be 6 days at the most. But again, there's not enough professionals. I mean, it, double would half it. So then, if their big thing is 6 months, if you had double the mental health professionals, that'd be 12 weeks. What what a starting point that would be. So, right training, people who actually know what to do when they go to work, um, as in follow basic instructions and checking on someone every 15 minutes if you're actually in a mental health facility. Um, these people are extremely hazardous to themselves, and that's why they're there. Um, and that doesn't need it doesn't need a psychologist or psychiatrist to check on someone every 15 minutes. You don't need a diploma to do that. It's just simple, basic, your job. But I'm going into a rant now because I'm just so annoyed with the whole system. And especially when these reports come out and they say, oh, nothing done to present it. Well, yeah, they could if there was more people. Surely people will get seen quicker or actually seen in the first place. Like I say, I don't know what it's like in any other country, so if you're in another country, please let me know because I would love to know what it's like over there. So, yeah, so that's basically the video that I didn't want to particularly do because I didn't want Ricky Hatton to have committed suicide, but unfortunately, that appears to be what has happened. So, yeah, I did. When I mentioned the video in the first place, I was just like, I know that I'm going to do the video. I know that I'm going to have to, but I hope. But that sounds, it sounds bad. I just hoped he'd died from something else, like cardiac arrest, something like that. I just hoped that it was not, he hadn't died from depression. Um, because, like I said, he's done so much for mental health and raising awareness for it. So, yeah, it's a tough video that I've done, but it's one that I've had to. I'd like to know what your thoughts and experiences are in the mental health service, especially in this country, where I think it's absolutely diabolical and a lot more could be done. But I think there's an unwillingness to do it. Um, going to leave it there for this one. Like I say, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. Um, it helps get the message out a lot if you like and subscribe. And that's what this channel's all about. Um, just keep plodding on. Like I say, I'm sorry the video was late, but there are circumstances. And I'll try and get another video out next week. It should be alright to do one some point. I think they're going to my sister's the weekend, so I might be able to do one Saturday or Sunday. So until the next time, like I say, once again, thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing, and keep it coming. Let's just smash a glass ceiling between us. All right, fast Johnny out.